Hey, what's up everybody? This is Jose from Southern Life, and in this video we're going to talk about the top 10 best places to move to in the South for people who are looking for affordability. Usually you get what you pay for. When a place is affordable, you can expect the place to kind of be less desirable, but I've done a good job of giving you guys places that are affordable and that still have good things about them. I see other lists online that are similar to this, and they include places that, while very affordable, are not places you want to move to. So these are places that are affordable, and if you had to, you can move to them and it wouldn't be that bad. Some of the lists that I saw had places like Detroit and Buffalo, New York, which gets like 6 feet of snow. You probably don't want to do that. These are places in the South, and I even deleted places like Texas and Mississippi that get a lot of snow. Now you may not know this about the South, but it's not a north to south thing. The snow is actually a vertical line, and as you can see in this photo, it's a vertical line that kind of goes from about New Orleans to Atlanta and then keeps going towards North Carolina. Anything north of that line usually gets snow. Many people watching our videos live in states up north that get a lot of snow, and they've had it with snow. They don't want to live in a place that gets a lot of snow. Nashville, Tennessee, they get snow back to back. Also traffic, places like Orlando, Nashville, Atlanta, these places have a lot of traffic. You want to live in a place that's a little bit smaller with less traffic. Cost of housing, and that's really important on this list. We also looked at natural disasters. You don't want to live in a place that's getting sinkholes, tornadoes, and all of the other crap you're going to get. Now, every single place is going to have a natural disaster, maybe a forest fire or some other odd event that happens rarely. However, the areas that are really prone to disasters are less common on this list. This will be a place where you're probably going to be about as safe as you can get. Realistically, no place is safe from disasters. We just did Alabama and Georgia in the last year, all over the place doing videos. And I noticed that a lot of the places that I did videos were recently hit by tornadoes. Some of these places are really nice places to live. Now, should you totally cross these places out of your list because they get a tornado every once in a while? Like, everywhere you live is gonna have a natural disaster, so you do have to understand that. No place is really exempt from natural disasters completely. While a lot of these places do not have incredibly high incomes, they are very decent incomes compared to the cost of housing. And that's really important because you see a lot of cities that have ridiculously high incomes, but even those high incomes are not enough to live in those places. Those are places like Atlanta, Nashville, where, yeah, the incomes are high, but it's still not enough to live in those expensive big cities. There are beach towns or places very close to the beach on this list. So these are places where you get a lot of bang for your buck and you still get a good deal. Places with a Publix and a Starbucks and all the normal city things you're used to. Now, some of these cities are known for having high crime in some neighborhoods, but they're so affordable that you can get a house in a decent neighborhood within a really nice price range. There's only one city on this list that I have not been to yet, and it is because I wanted to include a city in the Carolinas. Have you been considering living somewhere that's affordable? Moving to a place that's more affordable will give you a lot more freedom, a lot more time, a lot less stress, and a lot less things to worry about. In fact, a lot of people today are looking for affordability. They want to have more time for their families, less monetary concerns. In fact, in some of these cities, the down payments somewhere else could be enough to buy the entire home. So if you're thinking about quitting the rat race, this is a list you really want to see. More time for your family, a less stressful life, less traffic, less monetary concerns can lead to a happier life. So while these cities may not sound that attractive, there are many benefits to living a simpler life. And most importantly, I've been to most of these places, seen it for myself, and you're getting a real life perspective of what it's like to go to these places. So while other YouTubers get a big fat check for getting a lot of views on a video on something they probably just made up or have no idea what they're talking about, the amount of homework that I've put into this video for you guys is incredible. And what you can do to thank me for this work is that you can hit the like button, you can leave a comment, and that lets YouTube know that our videos are interesting. So sorry for the long introduction. Are you guys ready to look at the top 10 most affordable good cities in the South? Let's do it. Number 10 is Madison County, Mississippi, located just to the north of Jackson, Mississippi. This is a great suburban area with a very low population density. It is located in the south central part of Mississippi, and it does get occasional snow. It is one of the most affordable suburban areas in the country. About 100,000 people, 11% or below the poverty rate. A household here can make about $72,000 a year, and with $215,000 you can get a really nice suburban home. They do get an occasional snowfall here, but it's not tremendous. And Jackson, Mississippi, the city it's attached to, has the 28th lowest cost of living according to the niche website. Now, the major city in this metropolitan area is Jackson, and it has one of the highest murder rates in the country. And a lot of people moving are going to overlook this area for that fact, but there are great suburban areas with very low population density, kind of nice, quiet rural parts. It may be the right speed for you. You get a lot of competition for the house market right now. It's going to overlook this market simply because of the reputation that the major city here has. The biggest cons that make this place affordable are going to be the crime rate in Jackson, Mississippi, the city it's attached to. Another thing is going to be tornadoes. This area has a lot of tornadoes, and a lot of people just can't deal with that. You also have snowfall on occasions. Some people just don't want to deal with the snow. So the combination of all those things make this area affordable. Now, it's nothing like Ohio snow or Michigan snow, but you will get some type of snow here once in a while. And for some people, that's a little bit too much. The area is not perfect, but it may just be the right balance for you. Interstate 55 makes commuting the area a breeze. In less than 3 hours, you can be in New Orleans, a very fun place to party, lots of things to do, although it is a little expensive to party there. Number 9 is Fayetteville, North Carolina. Now, this is the only city on this list that I have not been to in person. I don't like to make videos unless I know exactly what I'm talking about, because I've seen that sometimes what you look up on the internet and what you see in real life can be two totally different things. So we're going to have to rely solely on statistics here. 209,000 people, less than 20% are below the poverty line, with a median household income of $44,000. That's not a lot of money, but you can buy a house here for $130,000. And also, you have the 75th lowest cost of living in the entire country. It's a big military town with a lot of affordable housing, a lot of stores and shopping, so there's definitely stuff to do here. You're not too far from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina if you got a squatted truck and you want to go see other squatted trucks. A lot of New Yorkers are moving to North Carolina for its affordability. This is the northernmost city on our list, so the weather is not the absolute best, but you're not too far from beaches. And that is important too. A lot of people want to be near the beach towns, they just can't afford them. Well, here's your most affordable option, is not being too far from the beach. And this will represent the Carolinas for us. I thought about putting Orangeburg, South Carolina on the list as the town that I went to, and I thought was really nice. But people that live there say the crime is horrible, so that's one thing about the Carolinas. Number 8 is Columbus, Georgia. Now, I really don't like this town too much, but I do have to admit it is affordable, and it is what other people might be looking for. But remember, on these lists, we're talking about cities, and we're not just talking about the city itself, we're also looking at the suburbs and general area. So keep that in mind as we go through these, that we're not just talking about the city itself, we're looking at general areas. And while the city itself, especially the south side, is nothing but a bunch of hoods, there it is between GA and Alabama. There's some nice suburbs on the Alabama side, and there's some really crappy suburbs on the Alabama side. The same thing can be said about the Georgia side. And what it comes down to is the particular neighborhood. There's great neighborhoods in Columbus, and there's some really horrible neighborhoods. You're going to have to do your research on the particular neighborhood and figure out if the house that you want is in a good place or in a bad place. The south side of the city is definitely the bad place. Central part of Phoenix City, Alabama, which is part of the metropolitan area, also a bad place. But you know what? On the northern side of Phoenix City, there's some parts that are really good. So you're just going to have to explore the metropolitan area and find a place that's really good. It seems like the north side of the city is the best from what I could gather on my little trips. You might find something that fits your needs. It doesn't seem like jobs and incomes are very good here, but there are few tornadoes in the area, few hurricanes, and it's really in a sweet spot for weather, getting very little snow if any. So when it comes to weather, it's really in a sweet spot where you don't have to worry too much about natural disasters. The bad thing here is incomes and crime. I think it's a great place to retire on a fixed income. Now, if you need to find a job and you need a lot of income, this may not be the metropolitan area for you, or it could be as well. But it seems like from what I can personally gather, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of jobs here. With incomes being about $5,000 to $6,000 less a year than Montgomery, Alabama, there's definitely some pros and cons to consider. Just make sure you scope out the right neighborhood so you don't end up in the gangland. Number 7, Warner Robins, Georgia, located to the south of Macon, Georgia, city that has a really crappy reputation. But this suburb, which some people that live here are really upset, they already went to the video and said, we're not a suburb, we're like our own city. It's located right there south of Atlanta and south of Macon. About 75,000 people who don't consider themselves to be part of the Macon metropolitan area, even though statistically they are making a miserable $50,000 a year. But you can get a house here for $110,000. Let me add, a very decent, nice, newer house. And less than 20% of the population is living below the poverty line. It's another military town. Yeah, there's a lot of military towns on this list. You're going to see that. And it does have incredible affordability, great weather. Hurricanes don't come up here too much. Tornadoes don't make it through here too much. Snow doesn't make it here too much. So it's in a really sweet spot for weather. Incomes seems to be the downfall of this place. Crime isn't too bad unless you go into Macon, and then you'll have a party if you're into crime. I asked one of my clients who lives here in the Montgomery area what he thought about living in Warner Robins, Georgia, and he said it's exactly an identical experience to living in Prattville, Alabama. And let me tell you what, he wasn't kidding. It's exactly the same thing. Quiet, affordable, decent people, decent weather. Not much to complain about here. So if you've been thinking about Alabama, but you're afraid of what family members who probably aren't going to visit you anyways are going to think about it, Georgia sounds a whole lot nicer. They have a Cuban restaurant, even though there were no Cubans in the building, and actually no Cuban customers, and not even sure how there's a Cuban restaurant here when not even the customers or the cooks are Cuban. How does that work? Number 6 is Santa Rosa County, located in Florida. Yes, this is the only representation of Florida on this list. After 2020, people have been moving and real estate prices have been going up. And this area, being in the extreme western part of the Florida Panhandle, has not seen the ridiculous price increases that the rest of Florida has. And it actually has really good incomes. Santa Rosa County has Navarre, which has beaches, Milton and Pace, which are really nice little areas. Per capita income has been over $30,000, and that's per person, not per household. 170,000 people live here. 10% are at the poverty line or below, and $66,000 is what the median household's been making. For $184,000, you can get a really decent house here. However, they got hurricanes, baby. Yeah, hurricanes hit here, and when they hit here, they are devastating, destroying everything in their paths because it's right on the water and in a part of the Gulf that hurricanes like to land in. So if you don't want to hear the rumble and roar of a hurricane, then this probably isn't your place, unless you really want to be near the beach, in which case you're gonna have to deal with hurricanes. There's also really nice rural communities. I mean, I like the place a lot, I'm not gonna lie to you. And one thing that Florida really doesn't offer is hometown, small town feel, and also affordability of housing and high incomes. Those three combinations are almost impossible to find in Florida, especially in a place that's affordable. So this place really is kind of the undiscovered gem of Florida at this point. So what's the bad stuff? Other than hurricanes being part of Florida, it's trashy as crap. And then while the people in Florida are like, oh no, this can't be my town. It's like that video I did where I showed all the homeless people sleeping behind garbage cans in Naples. And the people that live there are like, oh my gosh, this can't be in Naples. This has to be wrong. No, it is Naples. Because in Florida you have a homeless problem because you have a bunch of other problems like addiction, homelessness. And in this county, you got that going on as well. It's trashy because it's in Florida. But hey, you know what's not trashy? Number 5. Auburn, Alabama. This is one of the most wholesome and clean cities you can live in. Now, it has to be affordable. Let me explain. Buying a house in Auburn is ridiculously expensive. However, if you're a student, renting here is actually pretty affordable. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but it seems like there's a lot of really nice rental properties here that are affordable. It's a great place because there's very little tornado action in this part of Alabama. It's towards the southeast side of Alabama. So it's not like the northwest side of Alabama where there's a lot of tornadoes. So you don't have to worry too much right there between Montgomery, Alabama. Tornadoes are not that bad in Auburn. Weather is great. Hurricanes barely make it that far north. If it snows here, it's like a light dusting. But buying a house here makes absolutely no sense. It's more expensive to buy a house here because it's a really, really nice city. But if you're renting, you will find affordable renting options, especially if you're single. If you're single, you just need a small little apartment. They're really affordable and there's great jobs. So it's really a great city to be a student. So I'm not going to forget about students and people looking to relocate themselves, to educate themselves. It's a really great city for a single person, a young person looking to get a nice little job, a nice affordable rent. It's a great place to do all of that. The city really caters to that, and it's a very safe, clean, wholesome city. And if you're looking to buy in the area and you need affordability, Opelika has really affordable areas. The city has a lot of diversity with Latinos and Asians. It's also a great place to relocate to temporarily while you scope out many of the other great cities in the South that are all within this area. So, great place to start off. Number 4 is Dothan, Alabama. Located in the southeast corner of Alabama, it caters to people in Florida, Alabama, and Georgia as a center for commerce, trade, and is surrounded by other great little towns in Florida, in Georgia, and in Alabama as well, making it a really nice country rural area to consider moving to with incredible affordability. There is rarely any snow here. It's almost to Florida. Hurricanes have to be really strong to make a lot of damage because it's a little bit inland. And tornadoes usually don't make it that far to the east or the south. The housing market is extremely affordable and the incomes are not bad when you consider what it actually costs to buy housing here. This is a great place for somebody to retire specifically because of the affordable housing, great weather, really friendly people. This area is noted for having some of the friendliest people in Alabama. It's really not a bad place to be. Only the central part of the city seems pretty crappy and some of the trailer parks on the outskirts of town, but for the most part you can find a decent neighborhood. And probably the best thing is how close you are to some of the best beaches in Florida. So while you're not directly on the beaches where you have to worry about hurricanes, you're definitely not too far to be able to be on the beaches on a normal basis. In recent years, the per capita income has been approaching $25,000, and with the prices of homes being at around $140,000, it's a really affordable place where you can still make enough income to live decently. However, prices in this part of Alabama are starting to climb tremendously because when people look at Alabama, they assume that this is the best town in Alabama because of how close it is to Florida beaches. It's a completely massive mistake, but this misunderstanding and perception that people have moving to Alabama about Dothan has made prices go up unreasonably. Number 3 is the Huntsville, Alabama area, rated by so many people as the best place, top 10, top 9, top 5, whatever. This is one of the best rated places to move to. in the entire country. It's a big area from Guntersville to Huntsville to Madison, all the way over to Decatur and Hartselle. It's right there just to the south of Tennessee. Let's take a look at Limestone County, which is to the far west side of the metropolitan area. You've got 93,000 people, only 13% are below the poverty rate. The median household income is $56,000, and for a little bit more than $150K, you can get a really decent house in this county. It's a great little area with great little towns. I really love the east side of Huntsville, especially around Big Cove. It's absolutely gorgeous in there. This area is noted for affordability. Huntsville had the 35th lowest cost of living. It also has snow. That was a problem for me. That's why I know that Huntsville, being one of the most attractive areas in Alabama, it wasn't going to work for me because it's so far north. I don't really do the snow very well. But if you're okay with that, the area is noted for having great incomes, affordability, and lots of things to do. Recently, I've been able to trigger and clickbait the people living here by showing only the hood instead of the nice stuff. They get really mad. They're like, we actually have nice stuff too. It's not just a bunch of ghettos. Is this even in Huntsville? Yes, it is in Huntsville. There's a really nice Cuban restaurant in Madison, which is right next to Huntsville. I absolutely love it. They're really good. One thing I don't like about Madison is it's covered in these little Karen people that like to complain and like flick you off in traffic. I absolutely hate it. But the area has incredible jobs. NASA's there. Toyota, Mazda's building a huge plant there. I just can't stand these city people much. Number 2 is Shelby County, Alabama, the south side of Birmingham. This is the richest county in the entire state of Alabama, and it is still extremely affordable, even though it's got good incomes. There it is, right in the heart of Alabama geographically. It's got great towns like Helena, Calera, Montebello. Shelby County, 9% below the poverty line, 200,000 people. $75,000 for a household, and for $200,000 you can get a great suburban home. It has the 24th lowest cost of living according to the niche website, so that's really good. If you're new to our channel, we've covered Shelby County really well. Every single suburb that I've been able to get to, I've done, and there's so many different suburbs and cities that all offer different stuff. There'll definitely be something in there for you. One of the downsides is having to commute into Jefferson County, for most of the jobs are in the Birmingham area. And forget what you've heard about Birmingham. Everything you've heard about Birmingham is negative, but there's a lot of great stuff in Birmingham. Don't let that fool you. Come to my channel and look at some of these little places. The area's got a lot to offer, from universities to jobs to affordable housing to great communities. You'll find all that in central Alabama. One of the serious downsides is it being in the heart of Tornado Alley. Other than that, the weather's really mild, other than occasional dustings of snow overnight for the most part, which is actually great because you get to see the snow, but you don't have to deal with the worst part of snow, which is the heavy snow. You know what I mean, the bad stuff. So with affordability, mild weather, lots of jobs, lots of nature and things to do, there's no doubt that Shelby County is at the top of our list. And while $200,000 is a lot for a lot of people, there are affordable areas in the county if you look around. But if you got families and need better schools and better safety, then you're going to have to come up with a little extra money. I know Shelby County is a little expensive on the housing side, but everything else adds up. Number 1 is Montgomery, Alabama, the state's capital, an area of natural beauty. And, well, Montgomery, you wanted something that's legal. I'm not going to tell you this is the greatest place on earth because it definitely isn't, but if you need affordability, you're not going to find anything more affordable than Montgomery that is still livable. That's kind of why I ended up in this metropolitan area, because frankly there's nothing cheaper than Montgomery. 21% of the people here are below the poverty rate. $45,000 is what the average family's bringing in. You can get a house for $120,000. In the metropolitan statistical area, less than 19% of the people are poor. They're bringing in about $51,000, and the average home is about $145,000 in the metropolitan area, which has about 400,000 people. You can find rents here for as low as $600, and the per capita income for the city is $23,000, which is definitely not bad. In fact, it is the 16th lowest cost of living in the entire country. According to the niche website, the only thing that really sucks in Montgomery are the schools. So it's really not the best place for people who have families, but if you're single and you need affordability, or you're retiring or you're in early retirement and you need affordability and somewhat okay incomes, it doesn't get any better than this. Seen it and lived it myself. The metropolitan area has great places like Montgomery, no wait, not Montgomery, alright, Prattville, Wetumpka, Millbrook, Deatsville, Pike Road, and a lot of rural little areas that are just kind of out there. So while the city itself has a lot of problems, I was recently in the middle of the city when I ran into a urban shootout. Yeah, that happens in the middle of the city. But yeah, you don't want to be in the city. And if you are in the city, end up on the east side of the city. The west side of the city is straight up gangsted up. Alright, so there it is. The top 10 most affordable but still somewhat decent places to live in the South. Remember, the difference between Jose's channel right here, this is called Southern Life, and the other YouTubers is the other YouTubers don't travel and they make up stuff as they go. I actually hit the ground and see things for myself, and I recently moved myself to one of these affordable areas, and I could definitely see myself in a lot of the cities that I mentioned today on this list. Some of these other online lists include places like Detroit and Buffalo, New York. Are you kidding me? Who the crap is going to move there? So these are places you can actually move to. And in just about all these places, you can find a community that is affordable and safe, even though the city itself has a bad reputation. You just gotta hit the ground and make sure you have a good eye for bad stuff. One awesome suggestion is to rent somewhere for about 6 months before you buy. That way you're not moving in a rush, which is where you can really make a massive mistake. Regardless, you're still gonna need time to figure out what the crap you're gonna do if you're moving. Hey, if you got any video requests you want me to make, throw it at me and I'll see what I can do for you. And that's the video for today. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe and donate $5,000 to my channel. Just kidding. But seriously, consider making a small donation. I put a lot of work into these videos for you guys.